Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. I'm Nathan Kravitz, and today I'm excited to share with you my final portfolio process and some of my final products. So, I've kind of been working on this over the past couple weeks, and I've been trying to continue to highlight and refine my work. And so, today I'm going to share that and some things I've also learned. So, first, let's talk about professional communication. I focused on writing an email and writing a letter. So in this project, for this both of these things, I aim to seek guidance and volunteer opportunities in healthcare. My primary audience was my faculty advisor, Carol Hunley, and James Smith, a volunteer coordinator at St. Charles Medical Center. So, when crafting these documents, I wanted to emphasize a professional tone and concise language, making sure to highlight my skills and qualifications. For instance, when writing to my faculty advisor, I detailed my academic achievements and relevant coursework, underscoring my readiness for healthcare volunteer work. I also paid close attention to ethical considerations. It was important to remain respectful and professional at all times. And this kind of just taught me about the importance of integrity and transparency when writing professional correspondence. And yeah, I had fun doing this. In previous iterations, I kind of formulated this one as a um, email, but after further consideration and trying to be the best technical writer I can, I decided to do this as a letter. I also kind of worked through trying to shorten it before it was kind of long, and same thing with this one, and wanted to stay as concise as possible. So then, for technical reports, I wanted to analyze healthcare disparities. I dived into technical reports, specifically analyzing healthcare disparities. The focus was on access to care in underserved communities with the purpose of analyzing disparities in proposed interventions. So, my audience for this document was policymakers, health professionals, and community leaders. Key findings, I found that there's significant disparities, especially in Central Oregon. Right here, I kind of got some information from the county, and it just shows kind of how many people are underserved throughout the U.S. Um, just kind of increased funding to expand Medicaid and community-based initiatives, health information and outreach. I There's just significant physician shortages. Some information I found while doing this was the push to kind of increase non-physician healthcare providers like nurse practitioners and physician assistants or physician associates now that they called it. So that was very interesting. To go through, I kind of wanted to go more into that, so I still need to work on that, but I will add in that for the final idea, kind of sharing how that could be something that could really benefit would be to maybe include or to include more funding from Medicaid to open up more residency positions for physicians so that we don't have this as much shortage in physicians, which will help get people more care and help us all be more healthy. All right. So next, I this was the one where I was going to be a plausible professional scenario. So I was basically a what is it called? Hold on. So I basically worked for Deschutes County, and I was a health representative, and my audience for this was the Pacific Source Community Health Resources. Um, So I wanted to develop a plan to implement community health programs, the focus on tackling health disparities through educational initiatives. So I wanted to first conduct a needs assessment. This involved gathering data on specific health challenges faced by the community. And once we had a clear understanding of that, we could develop a comprehensive curriculum based on what the community needs. So when I was just looking, I noticed here in you can look that in Crook County, Deschutes, and Jefferson, Deschutes County is better than the national average or not national, but based on the Oregon average. But as you can see, Jefferson and Crook County have a higher cancer mortality rate per 100,000, as well as a higher prevalence of diabetes based on in comparison to Oregon, which is something that can definitely be fixed. So I wanted to put myself in the shoes to think about how I could develop a program and um, create a proposal. And I just think it's important for the empowerment of local communities to take charge of their health and propose. And this project highlighted the transformative power of education and promotion of health in local communities. So if we can, in this situation, I'm kind of writing, and I am writing to Pacific Source Community Resources, asking for a collaboration with them so that we can get to the local level in these counties and create change. So that's basically what the document was about. So my last one, which is a centered operations for medical school, guiding medical professionals. In this situation, I'm also a guidance counselor or a admissions counselor for medical school for OHSU. So I basically wanted to create a super easy document that's easy to read that could help many different students or further aspiring medical students to kind of find their way through the process because it's very overwhelming. Um, yeah. So my objective was to create a standing a procedure. Purpose was to offer guidance. And my target audience is pre-med students, and I want it to be well organized and user friendly with clear steps and timelines. And for ethical considerations and emphasis on responsible application procedures and respect for the integrity and selection process. So right here, I just put the month before deadline. So 12 to 18 months before deadline of submission of your application. It's a good idea to research medical schools. That can include the cost of attendance, how close they are to you. In-state schools tend to prefer in-state applicants, so that's something to look at. Maintain academic excellence, so maintain good grades, prepare for the MCAT, and engage in extracurriculars like volunteering. As like in my previous document for the emails and letters, I submitted one to do extracurriculars like volunteering and healthcare. Then 6 to 12, you want to craft a compelling personal statement, get good letters of recommendation, complete the MCAS application, and tailor your secondary applications to each school. So each school is looking for different things. So obviously, if you want to get into that school, you should probably tailor your application or secondary application to what they're looking for. After sub, oh my goodness, after submission, practice interviewing, ace your interviews, and then send thank you letters to the interviewers. After interviews, understand the timeline. Medical school admissions takes about a year. So understanding this process, try not to over bombard the committee with follow-up emails. And if you didn't get in, reapplication strategies would be retaking the MCAT or reviewing your application or getting more extracurriculars under your belt. So these are all things. While doing the research for this, I was very overwhelmed. So I wanted to kind of work on this and do that. I initially had a document, but then I decided to put it on this graph. And in conclusion, I learned about writing to different audiences, maintaining ethical communication standards and communication, emphasis on clarity and professionalism, and skills valuable in technical writing and